Ending transportation deserts in Lee-Ogle counties is the goal of a grant just awarded to the region by the state. 23 News reporter Alyssa Reamer talks with local transportation leaders about where they think the greatest needs are and how that can facilitate economic growth right here in the region.
IDOT awarded the Lee-Ogle Transportation Services, also known as LOTS, $244,000. It will be used to find and then help areas often overlooked. The planning and research grant will be split among several communities throughout Illinois. Using various resources, leaders will basically go on a hunt to identify areas that lack transportation options, like buses, cars, sidewalks, or taxis. Experts say those barriers keep people from accessing necessities like food and medical care.
It's vital just for the overall independence for individuals that are in these communities. This will give them that way of ensuring their independence to continue whatever it is they need to do in their daily lives.
LOTS leaders say the research and planning stages will last a couple of months, but people who live in transportation deserts should see a change no later than January 1st.